So I'm really excited today. I have just received this lovely parcel through the post that contains my lovely new ethically sourced gemstones that I'm going to use in the big neck piece that I've been working on for my new collection. As you can see, I'm actually still in my pyjamas, but I'm just too eager to disembowel this package and have a look at the gemstones inside. The clothes can just wait until later. Honestly, I'm just like a child at Christmas. So here I am in my room. Lovely otters there behind me greeting me every morning. Hello. So yeah, sorry, I'm just really excited. So I bought these gemstones from Gemstones Brazil, which is actually a company based in Edinburgh and is one of the few that are actually listed on the Ethical Gemstone website. And I was just really excited to look how lovely. I was really excited to actually get my order from an ethical dealer, and now more than ever this is becoming really important. We are actually managing to get some ethical gemstones sourced and more easily, and as I said, there's this ethical gemstone database and website which shows you which traders are dealing in ethically sourced, ethically mined and ethically traded gemstones. So as I said, Gemstones Brazil is one of these companies, and I was looking into many different dealers, and for the project that I needed I was just really impressed with the cuts that it's actually a woman that owns this company from Gemstones Brazil, and her cuts were absolutely beautiful. All her cuts come from, as the name suggests, Brazil, most of them from her own mines, and it's just a small family-owned mine, and here she is. As I was saying, the cuts that she had were just really spectacular and for a very good price as well. So here they are. Oh my god, they're just so beautiful. Look how sparkly. So these are trillion cut amethysts, and they're just slightly different. As you can see, this is kind of more a traditional trillion cut, while this one is actually cubed on top. I'm trying to think of the exact name, but it's absolutely stunning. So this one's going to be the center for my big neck piece. So let's have a look. Look at that. So this is a 12mm Brazilian amethyst, and the clarity is just absolutely beautiful. The cut on top is gorgeous, and as well it's got quite a nice depth there at the back, so it can really stand out, and wow, that's just incredible. And then this is going to be rather a large piece, and it's also going to have matching earrings, which I will be using these 7mm trillion cuts, which are the more traditional cut, but again it's absolutely stunning, just beautiful colours and absolutely beautiful little sparkle there. So I've got 4 of these, which means that I will be able to make 2 pairs of earrings with these. This one is the main central stone for my piece, and then I also will have tiny little 4mm and 3mm trillion cuts all along the neck piece itself. So now that we've had a look at these beautiful gemstones, I'm going to quickly get dressed and then take you up to my workshop and actually show you how I'm going to lay them out for the neck piece. So now that I've made myself look a little bit more presentable, I'm going to take my little gemstones upstairs and I'm going to show you the revised design of my neck piece. Now, some of you may have been following my process and my progress on this design, and it looked like this. However, now it looks like this. And the reason is that as a design evolves, especially if it's a design for my own collection, I like to look back at it, I like to revise it, I like to have a look at different aspects of it, and also I revised it according to the stones that I could source. So there is a certain amount of designing that is designing for the stone rather than just designing for your own imagination. So I weighed up those things and I found, as we saw, these beautiful cuts, and I revised my design to incorporate these beautiful stones. And it's actually, I prefer it a lot more to what it was, and I can really see it working. So let's go up to the workshop and have a look at my laid out piece. So some of you might remember that the last time I was working on this project, I actually sent off stuff to the casting company. Since then, I actually received the stuff back from the casting company. There were a few little issues and niggles, so I've been communicating with them and revising certain things and thinking up a better way to actually do this piece and make it more feasible to reproduce in the future as well, and make sure that the sizings were correct, make sure that the actual piece is properly thought out rather than just a whim and then I'll never be able to recreate it again. So, since then I have had everything cast, it's come back, I am really happy with it, and it's just going to be in stages. So what you see now is basically just the skeleton structure, and I'll still need to work on these pieces and actually attach the floral elements to it, and then obviously do all the stone settings. Yee, exciting. So I'll just turn the light on. Ooh, scary. And let's have a look at the design that I've got in place, and then let's put down the stone so you can see what it could potentially look like. So this is the skeleton structure of my piece. So I've laid it down so that I can understand exactly where I need to join things and where things are going to fold up and fold down. I've mapped out the earrings. I've given a bit of a, as you will have seen in the designs, I've given a bit of a different dangle from the actual collier piece. So I actually like this better because it looks a little bit more tree-like, a little bit more organic than the other one was a little bit too staged. So I felt that this looked a little bit more like branches. I've actually drawn out the trillion cut amethysts and positioned them on the actual piece so I can see exactly where they would go, and it kind of gives me a mapping idea. This is also very useful for me before I make my gemstone order because I can actually see it to scale and I don't risk buying the wrong size stones and then it arriving too big or too small, and it just gives me a better layout of the actual thing. So let's open back up my piece. Now I may not lay out all the tiny ones just because at this stage I don't want them to get lost, but I might. I'll see how it goes, but I'll pop them to one side and I will start with the bigger stones. It's tricky to actually obviously lay them out because they are faceted and they've actually got quite a deep stone, but you can have a look. That's exactly where it would sit, just obviously flipped up the way. So that one would go there, and these ones would go in here the other way around for the actual earrings. Now I had mapped out bigger stones for the earrings, but I actually really like these, and obviously once you've got the setting in place the stone's going to appear a little larger because obviously you've got the setting all around it. But I actually really like that. I'm actually glad I went for something a bit smaller because I think that's going to make it look really elegant rather than too heavy and down to earth. Like I want this piece to look elegant and light like a flower would basically. And then I would have all these small 4mm stones. Oh, look at them. That would decorate the sides like tiny little droplets. Oh, that's gonna look lovely. I was so concerned that actually I'd ordered too big stones and it was gonna make it look too heavy, but actually I'm really happy with this size. However, I'm just trying to think of a way to actually show you them, because for me it's fine just to see how it looks, but if you want to actually look at this properly, you may want to see the stones standing up rather than flop to one side. So I'm actually going to put a tiny bit of blue tack underneath, which won't damage the stone, but it allows you to see them propped up. So let's see if this is going to work. This is all new ground for me because I've set stones before and I've done kind of smaller work with stones, but this is my first big piece in which I'm going to be incorporating large stones, and it's for my collection rather than for a commission, and I have to say it's very exciting. So I'm actually just going to put that in place. When I show you, you will see the blue tack because I'm not doing this very neatly, but I want to make sure that the stone stands proud. But then I'm going to actually take a picture of it and Photoshop it for you, just removing the blue tack from the eye line, as it were, and so that you can actually see what the plan is. There we go. I wish I had some white tack instead of blue tack, but actually blue tack might make it easier to then remove on Photoshop. I always find it funny when I have to do this kind of work and then take it onto Photoshop and stuff. When I was starting out, I actually hated Photoshop. I was at college and I was doing fine art. So anything digital, I was just, no way, absolutely no way. I hate Photoshop. I'm never going to use it in my life. No. I refuse point blank. Photoshop is not for me. And then here I am using Photoshop basically all the time for mock-ups, and I ended up using it heavily at uni because it allows you to mock up alternate designs very quickly instead of drawing by hand every single permutation. And I'm what you would class as an idea generator as a person. So when I get an idea for a design, I don't just get one idea, I get about 20 of them. So that means that it makes it quite time consuming to draw out every single one to scale that looks nice so you can present it and actually, even just for yourself, figure out whether that's a design worth pursuing or not, because until you've actually drawn it to scale and seen what it looks like, you won't really know if it's worthwhile. So actually I found it very useful to just suck it up and learn Photoshop because it allowed me to draw one permutation, take it onto Photoshop and then do multiples and just change little bits around, and I actually ended up really enjoying it. So now I'm a bit of a Photoshop whiz for what I need. So by no other standard am I a Photoshop whiz, but I've been using it for about 8 years now and I find it a very useful tool. I always find it funny as well because my boyfriend at the time when I was at college, he was actually a digital artist. So we often had these debates where he was trying to get me to use stuff like 3D CAD and Illustrator and InDesign and all these programs, and Photoshop especially, and just trying to get me with it. And I was just very traditionalist, going, no way, absolutely no way, I'm never going to do this, no, I hate this, this isn't proper art, blah 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 blah. Actually, it's my opinions were just because I couldn't use it and I wasn't good at it and I just didn't understand it. And then I ended up having to use it, and I now have my subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud, which I never thought I would have in a million years, and I pay for it each month, and it's not cheap exactly, but it is so worth it, and I never thought these words would exit my mouth. So Andrew now finds it very funny anytime that that I have to use Photoshop, and then I'm doing all these things, and I'm now more of a whiz on certain things like InDesign because I've actually co-published a book with my mother, which is a violin method, so I needed to learn how to use InDesign to actually design the book, and I did the graphics for it and the illustrations, so again Photoshop came in very handy for that. And I use it on a regular basis for my business, so even just like from photo shoots and mock-ups and everything along these lines. So I'm actually now getting more and more digitalized, and at uni I used a lot of Rhino tech. So again, I was getting into the 3D CAD design, and if you don't know what CAD is, computer-aided design. And things that I never ever thought I would get into, because I am an analog creature and I still always prefer the hands-on approach, but digital really does have its benefits for me. I did do some work with 3D printing, and I'll show you one day how that looked, and it did really have its advantages, but I felt it detached too much from the making side, so I ended up not pursuing that line of inquiry. But it does mean that if I did ever have to do mock-ups, that I had access to Rhino tech and CAD, that I can actually use it, and it allows me to do things that I wouldn't be able to do, or would be able to do but would be extremely time consuming by hand. So it does open up a big avenue, but I think I would use it mainly always as a tool to help me make it by hand. So just to kind of create either tools or to have prototypes and that sort of work. So yeah, and we're almost done. I know I've just been sticking stuff down and you've just been hearing me blether along. Sorry about this, guys. But one last little bit of blue tack, and then you will see the piece complete. And that goes there. Unfortunately, this paper doesn't seem to like blue tack that much, so it keeps coming off, but hopefully. Last one. Da 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 da! And that's that finished. Now the lighting isn't great, but hopefully you can still make out what they would look like. As I said, this is just a skeleton structure, so it's nowhere near finished. Now this process will take me some time to do, so it might be a while before you see another video on this project itself. So apologies for that, but I really want to take my time with this because I want it to be quite a grand masterpiece, as it were. And I'll have other designs to go alongside it, which will be my smaller collection, so a collection of like smaller stud earrings and little dangle earrings and maybe just a little pendant and things along that side. But this is going to be my grand masterpiece for this collection, so I'm going to take my time with it, but I'm really excited to get started. But I will have to set, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20 stones just for this piece and the matching earrings. So it's a lot of work, and I still have to work on the actual structural pieces, and then I have got to key and boo with gold, which I will be doing a little video about as well, so you can see what key and boo actually is. But again, that is a very time-consuming process, so it will take me a long time to make this, and a lot of care and attention will go into it because I'm really excited to make this a kind of masterpiece, as I said. So I hope you've enjoyed being with me this morning and watching me fiddle about with stones and just talk at you for a while. And all I can do is thank Gemstones Brazil profoundly for these beautiful gemstones that I cannot wait to set. So thank you, Myra, and I'll let you know how it goes, but absolutely beautiful gemstones. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, then don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notifications button to stay alerted to any new content that I put out. If you would like to contact me regarding any commissions or any questions about any pieces that I'm making, then please feel free to write to me directly on my social media at Lorna Design, or through my website at lornaromanenghi.com. And if you have any comments, if you like this video, if there's any part that you would like me to expand on, or any other videos that you're curious for me to actually put out there, then please just leave any comments you might have in the comment box down below. So thank you again for joining me, and I'm now going to crack on with this project.